Annyeonghaseyo, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Gyeonggi, as we are here for day number 2 to find out who will be our champion here at the Intel Extreme Masters. My name is Kyle Harris, alongside Todd, to start off the proceedings. I'm sure you enjoyed yesterday and excited for more today.
Yeah, if you take a look at my shirt and the poor job I did ironing it, today is going to be the opposite in terms of the quality of games that we're going to get. A lot of crazy matches, and I think one that everybody will have in mind looking at the bracket will be the Dark against Beyond rematch from the BlizzCon Grand Finals. But to be honest, all of these matches look great. I'm super excited for it.
That's right. Of course, we have 4 fantastic series to come today, with the round of 8 about to commence. Yesterday, we had 20 series in total across the entire group stage, with a fantastic lineup of players, all 16 themselves. Even Ayasonu, who comes in as the only non-Korean, had a good showing, but wasn't able to topple all of these giants that we saw throughout the day.
Yeah, he definitely put up a good fight though. Did beat Solar, but it's always cool to reach the finish line of these tournaments. He started with 100 of players in the qualifier. We started then yesterday with 16, and now we're down to 8. And at the end of today, it's going to be down to 4.
Yeah. Very, very quick, rapid pace here for the Intel Extreme Masters Gyeonggi. But I think that we can take a look at the tournament as a whole and what is to come here throughout the day. So, of course, the tournament is in a situation where it's the best lineup we've ever had in Intel Extreme Masters here for StarCraft 2. And we can take a look now at everything that is to come. It's a total of $235,000 on the line across the games that we have representing, with that Overwatch sneaking in there down at the bottom as well. But $35,000 here for StarCraft 2, Todd.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad.
Like Marine Lord would say at Home Story Cup, but no, a lot of money on the line. That $15,000 prize pool is obviously what all of these players are looking at here in this round of 8. It kind of feels like any of them, obviously there are favorites, but any of them can make it there. And I think it's pretty cool as well that even 16th place, 13th to 16th place gets paid $250. That's esports earnings money.
Yep.
And that's more than some of us have earned that time in tournaments. There were many times where I didn't earn any in some of these tournaments I attended, so not bad.
Yeah, that's more than I make in an hour. That's impressive stuff here at the casting desk. But anyway, of course, that is our overview. Let's take a look at the bracket to see what is going to be going on throughout the day here, as well as we do have those 4 best of 5s that are to come very, very soon. Of course, with these 8 players representing, we are going to start off in the match order that you see here. So 1 to 2 to 3 and then 4. So our first match will be Maru versus Stats, all the way down towards the bottom there. And then the main event for today is that rematch from the BlizzCon Grand Finals. That will be happening last. It's Dark versus Beyond. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's a crazy good match. I cannot believe it's happening this early, and this is all due to Beyond taking 2nd place in the group after losing to Maru. If that hadn't happened, maybe these two would have met later. But now they meet in the quarterfinals already, and this feels like an early finals. Innovation Trust, though, pretty nice match. That's going to be 2nd, so we can get all the Protosses out of the way pretty early on here.
Kill them off now.
Hey, 3 Terrans, 3 Zergs, 2 Protosses.
Yep. Sorry, Protoss. Well, Trust...
before they make it all the way.
Trust, to be fair, he's been the one that's caused the most upsets, I would say, in this tournament, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think too many people would have looked at him as... even qualifying already was huge, but now he's in the round of 8.
Yeah.
And he made it out of a pretty tough group. Like, this guy is one guy that we need to look out for, and he's going up against an Innovation who's shown that in the past, these Terrans vs Protoss matchups can be tricky for him. So I'm very excited for this one as well.
What a day of games we have to come here for the Intel Extreme Masters Gyeonggi, for sure. A lot of good lineups, and as I said, make sure to stick around for the entire day, because that last one of Dark versus Beyond is going to be a blinder. So we start things off with... You just love it, don't you? We can start things off with Maru versus Stats. Of course, Maru yesterday looking extremely powerful in himself, actually be able to take out the BlizzCon champion.
Yeah, when you think about, best Terran in the world, immediately you think of Beyond. As of late, he's been on fire. Then Innovation comes to mind. Maru is one of those names that is very good, but you wouldn't trade him higher than these guys. But guess what? In TvT, he's a beast, and he beat Beyond yesterday. So Maru, this could be his tournament here, where he comes out victorious, and we end up saying, all right, this is, I guess, the new best Terran in the world here, at least for now. He's had some success in Intel Extreme Masters before, that 2nd place a while back, with some epic games that were played. It was over in China, I believe. So why not?
Yeah, why not? And then on the other side, of course, you've got someone like Stats, who came out of Group A in a little bit worse for wear. Obviously, he was in a group with Innovation, not exactly the easiest thing to do at all, but does he have the chops to make that kind of play forwards here?
Yeah, sure, for sure. I think, by the way, I forgot to mention this, but we've already got his guaranteed second place finisher. Su is in his bracket.
That's true.
And he's facing Biol.
Congratulations on second place.
I'm joking, of course, but it's going to be a cool matchup. Like, we haven't mentioned it yet, but Su against Biol is really nice.
Yeah.
This ZVZ, like, between two Zergs that are really on the rise. Like, again, you think Zerg, you think immediately of Dark. He's like the one guy that's you want to look up to, look at him for builds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are very good as well. Su's been on fire. Biol, he's very motivated. He's looking for a team. He qualified in very convincing fashion. So looking forward to this one.
He's super eager to find a new team. Like on Twitter, very
He will
active.
do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
However many nerds he needs to take out, he's going to do it to find a new team.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. It's a good point that you actually bring up Su versus Biol, being that they are the two biggest Silver Surfers of the past 2 years, I would say, in StarCraft 2. So nice to see them actually going to go up against one another.
Silver Surfers. That's... Oh, man, I'm so glad that they're probably not watching this and listening to this. This would be so disheartening to watch broadcast and be like, hey, you're always going to be second. Actually, one of them here will make top 8 only because they meet each other. So
True, true. All right.
What surfer is he?
I'm not sure. All right. What else do we have going on here whilst we are just getting the games ready for you guys?
We can start talking about the first matchup, I guess. Stats
Sure.
against Maru. Yesterday, Stats played against Innovation. Those were some really nice games. He won the first one on Echo.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the way he played it. I thought he was going to be able to do well, but Innovation really turned things around. He put on some really good pressure, like from the moment he starts having a lot of units. Even he's already on harassment, he's always very clean from Innovation. And Stats kind of just died to this big army that involved a lot of liberators. I'm thinking about the Overgrowth game in particular, where he walked all the way back to his natural and then was forced to take a fight that was just kind of horrible for him. So Stats is a guy that has many openers. He can go Phoenixes early on and then play with a lot of adepts. And it feels like he's very good in the matchup, but if you're able to go into the late game without losing too much against him and you finally reach that big army with a lot of liberators, it's that moment where I feel like if you're playing against Stats, you're going to be able to do well. Maru, though, he's known for his crazy drop style all over the place and great multitasks. So I'm hoping we get a lot of epic games here. Again, it's a best of 5, so we could have all 5 maps played with some longer games, and this is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, we definitely could. I'm wondering, were you able to kind of watch a lot of how Stats was pushing against Innovation? Because obviously Innovation won that series. Were there glimmers of hopes for him aside from the Echo game, or was it kind of like the other 2 games were they a bit more one-sided?
No, yeah, I don't think he got absolutely crushed and stuff. It was a competitive series, and I really like the way Stats mixes in a lot of different builds. Like I said, it depends on the map. Sometimes he's gonna go Phoenix into Adepts. Another time he's gonna go Blink and play a lot more standard. So that's also what makes it very difficult for a guy like Maru to play against him. But Maru, I'm pretty sure he's very confident in his own play. If you think about Maru as well, what weaknesses does this guy have exactly? It's not his micro is definitely not his weakness. His macro is definitely not his weakness. So you need to look way past that.
Yeah.
You need to look maybe at either his very late game or in the mid game. If in some of his build orders you think he's not going to be able to handle some light harassment, and by light harassment I mean a Prism and a Christmas package of 12 adepts swapping, maybe you think that can do a lot of damage, and then in the meantime you can defend at home when he's going to be attacking you. So it's going to be a lot of in the details that those series are going to be decided in the small skirmishes who can come out on top, and it's going to be a great series. Yeah, I can guarantee you that.
One of my questions about Maru specifically is that he hasn't had the most amazing year compared to some of the high rollers of 2016, but him taking out Bjorn and then kind of moving through into this position in this bracket, is he a hopeful for the entire tournament now?
Well, if he can beat Bjorn, you would say he can beat anybody, but there's always that dynamic at the same time. That one thing that's where just because you won a mirror doesn't mean you're playing very well overall. So now it kind of we kind of get to answer that, how well is he doing against a Protoss as good as Stats, who has been one of the absolute best Protosses. He doesn't get, I feel, mentioned often when we talk about best performing Protosses out there.
Right.
Stats is a guy who's consistently had a great year. Did I think pretty good at BlizzCon as well.
Had a championship during this year as well, the Crossfinals, I believe.
Yeah, Stats is just an absolute beast. So That makes for a very, very good match in my opinion. Like, and Maru, there will be some history, I'm sure, between the two. Like, they must play on ladder. Maybe they practice together as well. Like, when you go into the series between two players that are very familiar with each other, you can expect like some crazy stuff to happen. That's going to be like maybe a little bit hard for us to justify. But altogether, what I'm picturing is just a Maru trying to play solid all arounds. Go up to 3 bases, 4 bases, get big armies, attack, and stats mixing in different builds, but kind of doing the same thing. I don't see stats doing too many super aggressive build orders, Has style, for example. Maybe like in 1 or 2 of the games, but maybe not even. Yeah, I would say.
First map is going to be Overgrowth here, Todd. Are there any like curveballs that you could see coming along here, or what do you anticipate for this map?
It's not impossible for Maru to throw in a couple like proxies or something here and there, but usually they are not like super committed. Like it wouldn't be like a 1 base, you know, like just like a proxy, like super fast Widowmine drop into Liberator. But on this map, not super likely. Maybe Stats could be the one to play a little bit more aggressive if he wants to. But like, again, on this map, like there isn't much that works. Like, you know, the DTs. No, I don't think they are that great anymore. Like, you know, on this map, they used to do the warp in behind the natural, where they are warped in straight in there.
Yeah.
Blink also not super good, especially with how everybody got super good against it. So I think maybe something like a Stargate Adept, a very quick third bases are going to be a key point here for Stats to win, I think, in this series.
Well, we're just waiting for this game to get ready and good to go. It seems that our players are in the lobby, but they're just taking a few moments to get ready here before we actually launch in. Remember, it is a best of 5, and best of 5 throughout the entire tournament now. I think it might be a best of 7 in the final. Do you recall?
Yeah, I think you should be, yeah.
I'm going to...
By the way,
it is.
Do you know how old is Maru now? Because it feels like he's been 15 years for 10 years.
You're right, yeah, you're right. I'm not even sure how old he is now. Maybe almost 20? Maybe?
Really?
Maybe.
That old?
I know, it's crazy, I think, isn't it?
He still looks the same, though. A lot of people in this sport do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
If I look at like photos from a lot of people in this sport, including casters from like, 10 years ago, they kind of look the same. And it's a lot of the same for those players.
We don't age.
Maru, though, he's gotten a whole lot better than...
Oh, well, we can take a look at the players now as they are almost ready to get into this game. Of course, we have our first player. It is Maru. Look at him. He's ever so adorable. And
I feel like he looks younger as time passes by.
And he hasn't gotten any taller either.
He's had a very solid tournament so far. 2-0 against Solar.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, and then beats the BlizzCon champion in 2-1. That guy's on fire right now, but he passed the Zerg test, he passed the Pian test, and now he's going to have to go through the final boss. That is Protoss and Stats.
Imagine that. Of all the roads to take through this tournament, you beat Solar, you then beat Beyond, and then you have to go up against Stats. That is like a trifecta of awesomeness when it comes to the races.
They call it a Royal Roader.
And then, of course, on the other side, it is Stats here, a guy that has certainly proved himself in tenfold here in 2016. Yeah. And I mean, he's a pretty impressive run himself, to be honest.
Interestingly, he failed the Terran test pass against Protoss and Zerg so far. So, I mean, like I said, it was a competitive series, I believe, against Innovation. He was a 1-2. He's definitely going to have learned from that and look and try and play better. And also, you can't really know how well Maru is playing right now against Protoss exactly. Like, it's your stats. You don't look at it as like, oh god, I lost against Terran. I'm so bad in the matchup. Yeah. I think you should be more looking at that. Innovation played really well. I don't know if Maru is going to be able to play as well. And I can play better myself as well. Like, it doesn't really matter how Maru plays. As long as Stats can get some momentum going, I think he might be able to do very well for himself.
All right, well, we are getting into game number 1 now as we have the first quarterfinal of the day. Spawn into the bottom left-hand corner here in the red under the name Patience for a moment, but it is indeed Maru looking to push himself on forwards here and using a different and up to the top right-hand corner, it's our blue Protoss. It is Stats.
I completely forgot about that. That one cat.
The cat?
Yeah, the Maru.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
coming out of boxes and stuff.
You mean the videos that I used to watch?
Yeah, you were obsessed with those videos.
Yeah. It was all inspired by Elfie. He would watch them before games, and I was like, I'll watch them before casts. It got me calm and happy.
Not me.
Not you.
All right, gas first from Maru there so far in this game. Hopefully the scoreboard can get corrected in a second, so we can indeed confirm that, it is Maru. If you tune in like in the middle of this, you're like, Patient switch to Terran? No. He did not. He most certainly did not. He would never betray his race.
No, nobody needs really aggressive Marauders blinking forward somehow.
Tactical jump
Tactical.
with no hesitation
Yeah.
as it comes out from the starport to
I'm
slowly
going.
across the map. And everything looking standard so far out of stats here in this game. And again, the big question, I mean, on this map, like Stargate opener into a very quick third is one of the best things that you can go for, but it's also like so obvious that Terrence can do specific builds to try and, you know, counter that to the letter. I think he was at the Pro League finals over in China where someone tried to hard counter TY. Remember, he did a Cyclone build against SOS on this map, on this very map, just because he knew it was going to be a quick third base in Stargate, and he actually killed a natural base.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
But then didn't scout the third base, and SOS crisis management was really good, and then he ended up coming back. You can't really expect stats to play similarly, and all alike. I don't think that Maru really has the chops to throw in these kind of builds too often compared to TY. So we're going to be seeing a lot more standard play here out of these two so far.
Well, Reaper on the way across to get some information and have a look around. Sponsorship card, even voting over to whoa! All right, Reaper, you're getting no information aside from the Nexus. Not allowed it in towards the back at all.
That is very good for stats, because now Maru has to keep on guessing, and immediately after he actually starts a robo that it wasn't not necessarily the choice that I think he was going to go into from the start.
Yeah.
But now that he knows for a fact that for Maru to scout, he's going to take, I'm guessing, a scan, right? You can't walk an SCV into a Mothership Core on the depths and get the perfect scout. He gets the robo. So, I mean, robo is just a solid all-around opener. He gets 2 more gates. Twilight usually going to be the follow-up, and then into Resonating Glaives or Blink. And this is just like really nice altogether to just be able to deny that Reaper from coming in there. But obviously there's going to be that one less photon overcharge for stats when Maru finally goes across the map with his units to try and potentially do some economic damage.
A little bit wary and worried with that Widowmine, just making sure that he's going to be on lockdown, and there is already the Warp Prism being produced here by Stats. So looking for a bit more of an aggressive potential here.
He wants to be aggressive, drop in some adepts, swap in some more. He thinks that Stats might not be ready, but this could make for a very scrappy game. Like this could, I guess, we could be seeing units and workers die all over the place very, very quickly. Usually a lot of the time what happens is that like one of the 2 players spots that the other one set it for their base and they end up playing defensive. But if that War Prism goes across the map and he doesn't have units at home other than Mothership Core to defend against these Widowmine drops, like it's going to be very annoying for Stats to properly deal with this. He's going to have to start pulling walkers off the mineral line so that they don't get all blown up. And look at this tank being produced. We say siege tanks, but against just tanks, like he's enough.
Is it easy just like wary as a whole? Like kind of scared that Stats is going to be doing something a bit more aggressive with that blinker kind of play, but these Widowmines already burrowing him. There is an observer there, so we'll be able to clean it up quite quickly.
God. That was such sick defense here.
Yeah.
Really not losing anything. He's actually warping in Stalkers instead of Adepts. I was fully expecting it to be Adepts because he made a Prism, but that tank is going to come in really handy, and there's a second one on the way now for Maru, so it's kind of as if like he was expecting this.
Yeah, seems that way.
That's one actually of the very smart things that you can do on a map like this. If you think that your opponent is going to take a quick third or be aggressive, you just get a bunch of tanks, because then it's good in either situation. If the opponent is attacking you with Stalkers and you have tanks, you're usually golden and you're happy. If he takes a third base, then you can yourself do a siege attack.
And behind all of this, Stats is grabbing himself his Robo Bait to try and get things going. So these Stalkers, for the most part, aren't really going to get anything done in an aggressive manner. They're probably just going to be there for like a soft contain while trying to do some harassment, since there are the siege tanks here.
It's very important for Maru to react quickly to this, send exactly enough units than he needs to do with these adepts, because there's going to be a lot more warped in a second. He's still on 3 gateways, I believe. Oh. And those Stalkers at the front are actually going to engage into those tanks.
Yeah, get a siege tank already there. The SCVs come off the line, realizing he had to take all of his Marines back to try and deal with the War Prism. This one siege tank, repair! Oh, it's going down! It's so low, that Stalker will not finish it off. And he's trying to clean things up, but he lost 12 SCVs during that attack. Yeah,
and this is a really nice snipe for Stats to get this many SCVs, but he threw away a lot of army for it. He lost a lot. He really doesn't have much left over, so if you look at 36 SCVs against 50 probes, like, it's not great for Maru, but it's not the end of the world, right? It could have been way, way worse, especially if that tank died, then the Stalkers could have kind of done a little bit more damage around that natural base. So Maru definitely had like it wasn't the best defense, but wasn't the worst either. Is what I'm trying to say.
Does that kind of assault from Stats open up that window where he can safely get to these Colossi with the Thermal Lance, etc., or could he have just done that anyway? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be able to reach Colossus and Thermal Lance before any kind of big fight should happen. But Maru, it looks like he has no intention of taking a third base right now. He's just massing on 2 bases and he's getting, so to speak, double siege. Like he's not getting tanks anymore right now, but he was at first, and now he's getting liberators. And since he's just massing and not making SCVs anymore, or not that many, right? Like he lost a whole bunch, he went back up to 41. I think he's just gonna 2 base. It's knowing that the third base from Stats is kind of late. Actually, that observer, you might want to get rid of that because usually from Protoss there's not going to be that many observers out, and if you can kill all of them and then you have a bunch of Widow Mines set up forward, you're in a great position. Yeah, so he gets rid of it. That's very important. Now there's one left over for Stats, and that third base is going to be the target.
Makes it a little easier for the Terran to assault against these kind of Colossi numbers. Thermal Lance is complete. Combat Shield's about to finish up as well, but already you can see he does know that those Widow Mines are buried in that location.
I think the observer's not there.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it is. It can't. I mean, it mustn't be there at the moment. He's dropped the scan, trying to reveal it, and
Stats must be getting some flashbacks from when he played Innovation on this map, and Liberation zones were set up all around his base, and he felt like he could never take a fight. Right now, he's kind of feeling like the same thing. He has a lot, though.
Yeah, so that bio went a little bit further forwards there and actually got some shots off from the Colossus, so it's a bit of a treacherous position. A lot of the Stalkers are dying on the left-hand side thanks to the Marauders doing so much damage. He kills one of the siege tanks off, and that's a good start to stop this from hitting the third.
Great defense so far out of Stats. Like he's not out of the woods just yet. Maru's gonna pull back and regroup a little bit.
The Observer was just hanging around above the army during that time as well, so that's where it was, just slightly off the back. And now that's going to be a third hopeful here for Maru, but did he do enough with that attack? What do you think?
Well, he traded, that's the thing. Like if you look at the army supply right now, 61 for Maru, 39 for Stats.
Yeah.
Like sure, Stats held at first, but now Maru can do a follow-up attack that ideally should do more. Like I think Maru would love to get some economic damage done if he can, but he has to go through the army first. So he's gonna go and drop in the main, knowing that most of the army of Stats will most likely be around the third base and that there's not enough observer to spot this coming. Maru's gonna do what Maru does from now, basically. He's gonna attack all over the place, Liberator in some bases, Medivac drops in others, and try and do some economic damage while he keeps on macroing properly at the same time.
Yeah, at least the Warp hasn't spotted this for the most part, so you just see...
Oh, he goes for it!
Down, but he's going to drop it anyway, with the Liberation Zone as well. Is he going to focus down the Colossus? He's trying, but he's not really doing too much against it. He was just going for some of the ground units aside from the Colossus, and now without many more gateway units there, he's just going to have to abandon for the moment because the Colossus did so much damage.
Nice trade here, I think, for Maru, like to be able to get some Colossus like this.
Cleaning up the Widow Mines.
Yeah, actually that's super annoying. There's only one observer. He tries to go for another Colossus here on the left-hand side. He's actually going to be able to trade against it and get it.
That's big. Getting almost a second one as well there.
He kind of needed that. If you can completely reset the Colossus count, usually you're doing something right, especially since Maru is one of those guys that kind of refuses to make Vikings, remember. Like a lot of the time, he's just going to completely skip them altogether.
Trying to just get a snipe or two with these Marauders, but pays for the price of it. Ooh, trying to dodge the disruptor shot, but it doesn't really matter anyway. He gets cleaned up fully.
This is what I was worried about, because this is the stage in the game where Maru, he loves to be aggressive and attack in multiple places at once. If you're a Protoss player as good as Stats and you're able to defend cost effectively and you start finding yourself ahead in supply and upgrades, that's usually where Maru's gonna crumble a little bit more and have a much harder time. It feels like against almost any player he might be able to do a lot of damage here and there, but Stats so far, his defense has been really good. And now if you look at the production tab, like he starts 2-2 way earlier than his opponents.
He's content. Finished.
Yeah, he's content with his Colossus counts to disruptors.
Yeah.
And we're most likely going to be seeing a fourth base start very soon. Look at his Maru scans all over the place to try and see the army position of Stats. He really wants to do damage, and sometimes that's his downfall.
Yeah, and it's very difficult for him to get something done with this army against what we're seeing here from Stats. So had to look for holes, had to look for weaknesses, but couldn't find them. Backs off, and now he's going to try and hit what seems like two locations at the same time. He's separating a bit of his army off down to the bottom right-hand corner because he knows he can't contend with that Colossus count and even the disruptors in tow.
It's kind of a Bolt-esque move where you split your army 50-50. You say I have two strong chunks of army. If you split your own army 60-40 or 70-30, it's going to go very bad for you because then I'll pull back on the side where you have too much and I'll fight on the side where you don't have enough. But like I said, Maru, it's very easy to overextend in these situations. Like if he thinks, like even earlier, dropping on top of the army that was already in position, that was kind of bad. And now disruptor shots moving in there.
Picks up. He loses 2 Winter Mines with that, but at the same time now, those 3 disruptors are out of shots, so he will have to try and deal with some of the more warpins. It should be an okay defense here for Stats once again. He's doing so well.
That bought enough time for him for the Stalkers to come back, and now Stats, actually this might be one of the time when you get rid of 3 medivacs and all of those units, it's very encouraging for you to go for a counter attack. So if he starts gathering across the map and attacks just after 2-2 finishes, he's going to have a big upgrade lead, during which he's going to have a lot of Stalkers and Colossus before they start on becoming worth against potential, huge amount of Vikings or Liberators.
Some of the moment these Liberators will be able to lock down this location. He stims up and he's going to go for this fight. There's only one Colossus there.
This is so good by Maru. He realized a huge chunk of the army of Stats was missing.
Yeah, and he's actually going to focus down the Colossi as well here. This is good for him, although a disruptor shot on the right-hand side catches a few of those Marauders. Another one's going to come in. There isn't that much bio left on the ground. It's all about those Liberators doing damage. If Stats stays out of those, he could kill off some of this army. Warping in as well. Liberators have to reposition, but he's going to try and focus them down now, knowing that that's some of the big chunks of the damage. The Marauders still dishing out a lot here. It's so close, so down to the wire, but he lost all of his Liberators in the process.
What a trade this is here to get a game like this as game 1 of the best of 5 series between those two. Maru engaging early on before the rest of the army of Stats was there, knowing that this was the right thing to do, but they just end up trading it. As much as he killed the Colossi, there's still a couple disruptors left over. All Stats has to do is reinforce, stay outside of the range of the Liberators, and spam up some of those disruptor shots, but he actually goes forward, and he's going to try to finish the game.
Yeah, just got to bring back some of these Stalkers here. The SCV is going to war as well. There's 10 already gone down, pulling off even more. He knows he's in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have that many Marauders as well as Marines left. Plus 2 weapons is just about to finish up as well, and he's even trying to kill off as many of the Stalkers as he can, but I don't know if it's going to work out. There's more Warpins coming along. The Adepts reinforcing. The Marauders and Marines are running for their lives.
Both of them are playing so good. Stats with the attack makes it work somehow anyway, and it's looking like he might be able to close this out here. He's starting to pull very far ahead. His supply 60 probes to 33 SCVs. He can just snowball out of control on the unit count here. 2
more Liberators setting up here to try and push this away. Somehow, some way, the Marines and Marauders have pushed back these Stalkers for now, despite the time warp, despite the pursuit of those Adepts as well. Here come Liberation Zones again. Disruption shot doesn't quite connect. Another one tries to come in. Maru just microing as much as possible. Kills off the Disruptor. Is he going to hold against the Stalkers?
Okay, Maru is the sickest dodgeball player of all time. Stats now on the 4th base, but Maru can fly his main orbital command to the gold base if he wants to, so...
He's lost so many workers, though. It's 26 to 61.
Yeah. But he has mules though, and he doesn't need to scan anymore. So I think if he flew his main to the gold base, Maru still has a chance here in this game. But Stats obviously set up on 4 bases. It just feels that that upgrade from Maru took forever to finish. That +2 attack infantry. And when it finally finished, most of his bio was already gone. So Stats used perfectly his upgrade advantage here that he had. Look at how many games died. We were not even 15 minutes in here.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is what I was hoping for. Like everything I was hoping for from this series so far happens. Except maybe this.
Oh, jeez. If he'd have lost some of those medevacs there, that could have almost been lights out for Maru. So much invested in that army. And now, +3 armor is on the way with Colossus production starting again.
Yeah, Maru needs to camp, but I think Stats might go for it. Like, he knows that he's well set up on 4 bases. He's going to blink forward, get one of those Liberators before the fight even begins.
Perfect, but at the same time, some of those Adepts in the back of Stats' army aren't really doing anything during that small skirmish, so he's got to be careful about his positioning of this army if he wants to take these fights.
It's actually very hard to justify blinking into this. The fact that Liberator was used prior to the fight even happening now is even more discouraging for Stats to go for it, but Stats got Maru on lockdown here. He doesn't even need to fight. He can just maybe expand even one more time, but then the only threat for him would be a counter drop, which guess what? That's Maru's specialty.
And he goes. He is off with 2 medevacs over to the left-hand side.
Oh, and Maru keeps, that's so smart. He keeps on scanning the army of Stats to see if he pulls back, if he has everything there. He sees him pulling back now, so he's just gonna, does he slow down and come back to defend? He might set up right behind to try and get a
sick flank.
2-side flank.
Yeah, that would be good. From the north and the south, that would be great. But for now, Stats here, just positioning towards the middle.
He's actually going to counter-attack on the left-hand side. I see those medivacs setting up for a big drop.
Pylon spots things out as well. Gonna blink forward here, realizing there's a chunk of the army on the left-hand side. Kills off some of the Liberators. The Adepts really need to get in the fight, but at the same time, there isn't enough bio here at all to stem the tide that we're seeing here from Stats. Blinks forward, kills off the medevacs as well.
Stats has too much.
Stats getting the chokehold on towards Maru here, down towards the bottom. He's losing probes to the top, but Maru has lost everything at home. GG, game number 1 goes to stats.
I love the cheeky